Boston looking very good here on defense.
Philly with a real chance to flip the point here. Carpe sets him up and Shadowburn knocks him down.
Striker and Gamsu, Neko all in the mix.
Okay, Poco.
Shadowburn finishing off that one.
Dream Casper's there.
Poco self-destructs.
Oh, baby, that's right. We got ourselves some great Overwatch today. What's going on, everyone? My name is Golden Boy, and I am one of the hosts coming here, stepping in for Puckett, giving Puckett a long due breather. This guy has been working so hard, so they decided to call in the big guns. Hit it pretty. You know what I'm saying? In any case, so guys, I'm joined by an excellent desk. We have Sideshow, Bren, and the wonderful Zoe. Might I say, Sideshow, you're looking quite decadent.
Thank you.
No?
Thank you.
Okay.
I normally use that word to describe cakes, but if you want to describe a human being.
I mean, your jumper does look a bit like a bit blue cheese. Could you describe cheese as decadent, maybe?
I think
possibly.
I like that.
I really like where this conversation is
It's a
going.
hard rap.
Right.
Keep it up, guys.
You know I'm here, so it's gotta be funny already. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the league standings where we are, because the Los Angeles Valiant kind of threw a bit of a wrench into the machine with that victory against the Seoul Dynasty last night, and that is going to leave things in a very interesting position here today, as we have Philadelphia, Boston, and Houston all vying for an opportunity to make it into the playoffs. But the schedule of events today, it's going to be a good one. We're actually going to have ourselves a spicy Super Bowl rematch between the Philadelphia Fusion and the Boston Uprising. Let's see if Boston can catch the ball this time. That's going to be the question, I'm sure, but a good joke on that one. I give myself a pat on the back. But let's go ahead and introduce your first team of the day. It's going to be the Philadelphia Fusion. This team has had a roller coaster week. Last week, they were swept by the Valiant 0-4, and then after that, they swept Dallas 4-0.
They did, and I feel like this team has snuck under the radar a little bit. People have been so hyped about some of the other teams that have been making playoff runs, either because they've been so good and people thought they were one of the best teams, or because it's so unexpected like Boston. But Philadelphia have been there, kind of inconsistent performances, but always in that kind of playoff contention spot, I think.
Yeah, now we're not really seeing anything different here today, but Zoe, rumor has it that there's some reinforcements on the way.
Yeah, he's not in the starting lineup right now. However, Echo is now also in the USA, so they have another player to utilize if they so please. When the team was not yet stateside, they actually practiced a lot with him, with everyone really, and he's been fully involved in anything the team did. However, since the season started, they had to, of course, focus on the players on site, and the time difference with Echo in Israel made it really hard to incorporate him. So let's see if they will be using him maybe later on today.
And real quick, we have Poco on the lineup again, Bren.
Yes, we do. Yeah, Poco, I'm excited to see this. This guy, I wanted to see him back in this team lineup, because with Hotba, they were playing a bit of this passive style. Doesn't really work too well with the rest of the core that they've got running. With Poco back in, I got high hopes.
Well, their opponents are looking to have high hopes for a victory here today. They've been on a tear. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the Boston Uprising. Now, it's funny that the LA crowd is cheering for Boston, because last week they just swept. So it was just a broomstick just going right through.
They're very
Zoe.
forgiving.
Yeah.
LA is very forgiving.
Yeah, you know, just such nice people over here.
Yeah,
so Zoe, you know, what's going on with this Boston team?
Oh, you know what? So, fun fact, Boston Uprising and the Philadelphia Fusion were watching the Super Bowl together. Us lucky casters and talents have been invited to said party. It was a lot of fun for everyone who's a Philly fan. Boston, maybe not so much. I did talk to the team. They actually said that they want that revenge. They kind of consider this a little bit of a grudge match. They're very motivated to take that match today, especially for the mutual fans of both the Boston Uprising and the Patriots.
Yes, and Boston have always been, in some sense, an underrated team coming into it. But I feel now that they destroyed the LA Valiant last week, you can no longer call them the underdogs. These guys just are a playoff contending team. They have a good chance of making it through to the Stage 1 playoffs, and this DPS duo they've got going for them is absolutely fantastic. They look like such a good team, unexpected, out of nowhere, but so good.
Yeah, in general, the two players I'm going to be looking forward to in this match is, of course, going to be Dreamcasper and Striker, this dynamic DPS duo. These guys, in my opinion, are probably the most consistent DPSs that we've seen in this league so far. They seem to never underperform, and even if one isn't quite picking up the slack, the other one will just absolutely slam it home every single time.
Yeah, this Boston Uprising team has had very interesting run here at stage 1, and they're looking to punch their ticket to the playoffs. So speaking of the playoffs, Bren, you know, I'm glad this is my first time here at the Overwatch League because I'm terrible with mathematics. But luckily for you, you have to do the math today.
Yes,
so
I actually used to be a maths teacher back in the day.
That's not true.
You were?
That is, I highly doubt that.
Well.
I don't even know what that is, honestly. And also, I just want to point out, too, something funny. I was talking about football, and I had 3 people here who are not.
Not a clue. You
References
made
miles
you made
above.
these references again. It's just called hand egg in the UK. We don't know. We don't really know what it's. What is this football?
No.
But no. Yeah, let's talk about playoff implications. Let's get to the graphics here, the real meat of it. And there are huge implications with this first matchup. Firstly, Boston. If they defeat Philadelphia Fusion and Houston today, they're in the run really. But they need to do it with a map differential of 6 maps. Now, what that means is, you know, any combination of map wins here today, which means that, you know, they could win, I believe, 3-1 in both these matches. That will do it for them.
3-1 and a 4-0.
4-0s, yeah, 4-0s as well. But they do need to beat both Philadelphia and Houston for a chance. Now, if we look at the other side of things as well for Philadelphia, it gets a little bit more complicated. It's a whole host of things. I'm not going to read them out because there are so many different variables. No, Golden Boy, I'm going to ignore you. But they do have a shot in the runnings here, but there's so many different paths that we could take as this season is going to progress now in the final few days of stage 1.
Yes, and the interesting point here about Philadelphia's route to the playoffs is that Seoul needs to lose to San Francisco Shock, and the Valiant need to lose to Shanghai as well. So if the Philadelphia make it to the playoffs, they all want to buy themselves lottery tickets as well, because their fate is not in their own hands here. The best they can do is just win.
My brain hurts after all of that, and for due reason, because I just was lost the whole time. But the good news is we have these great analysts here to kind of like run you through this good stuff. But Zoe, I know you actually had an opportunity to catch up with the coaching staff from Philly Fusion. What's going on with them?
I did. I actually talked to them about their basically key to victory. What can they do to defeat Boston? They gave me 3 keys, and I'm going to just read them off my piece of paper because, you know, I have it. Why not?
Why not?
They said they need to peel their dives, add controlled striker without giving Dream Casper enough space. That's been an issue for a lot of teams going up against Boston Uprising. Controlled striker, then Dream Casper goes off and vice versa. So it's a bit tricky. Let's see if they can do it. And last but not least, they need to be ready to for their counter strats. I'm really good at reading, by the way. Just saying.
You know, it almost feels a little bit like a pick your poison kind of situation.
It
right?
really is.
You shut down
Yeah.
one, and then the other one's just going to pop up. You know, striker, he's down. Oh, here comes Dreamcast.
And that's why, for me, the big DPS matchup here is between Dreamcasper and Shadowburn. They have to make sure that they are winning the 1v1s, particularly when it gets down to impact on Genji. Both of these guys are known for their Genjis. Shadowburn easily has double the playtime of any other Genji in the league overall, apart from Dreamcasper. He's the only one that's even close. And these two guys have been consistently performing unbelievably on this hero. And it's been part of what makes Boston and Philadelphia so good, is that they can rely on their DPS players to clutch performances in fights that perhaps they shouldn't be able to win. But when you look at the head-to-head stats between them, the biggest one to me is average time holding Dragon Blade. Shadowburn easily holds his Dragon Blades for the longest out of anybody in the league. So he has the highest playtime, but he also holds on to them. He waits until the opportunity is perfect, or the fight just rests on a knife's edge, if you pardon the pun, and then he whips out.
You're fired.
And then he whips out the Dragon Blade. So between these two guys, I think Dreamcastle is going to be more of the aggressive initiator. Shadowburn's going to try and counter and save it.
Yeah, and then not only do you have the fight with the ninjas, but then you also have a fight in the air as well. And Bren, you know, you're going to have to talk about the Pharah game here because we're going to be kicking it off with Eichenwald. And as well, we're going to see Ilios, and we're going to see a lot of fire play out of these two teams.
Yeah, precisely. These two maps are brilliant for these Pharah matchups, right? Teams running the Pharah push on Eichenwald throughout many stages because it's such a vertical map, but also Ilios, you know, you can use that concussion blast just to knock people into the well when you're on Ilios, off the map in various situations. And how these two players are now going to be matching up, if they can win these Pharah duels, that will be the decider for me, the key to victory in both of those maps, in Eichenwald and Ilios.
Okay, so this is it. It's a big moment for both teams. Playoff implications on the line, some more complex than others. But who do you think is going to win? Sideshow, I'll start with you.
I think I've underrated Boston the entire time here. And on paper, when we came into the league, their roster didn't look that good. But they've proven me wrong, so wrong. And so I feel like it's impossible not to go with Boston in this matchup. Even though Philadelphia Fusion are very good, Boston have looked so clean, the DPS have looked so strong, and Philadelphia Fusion crumble a bit when you up the pace. So I've got to go with Boston here.
Okay, Brent.
So for me personally, I've always thought Boston were the better team in a lot of these situations. That's my call to fame. But I'm actually going to be going for Philadelphia here today. I feel like Philly are going to be taking it. They've got the DPS star power. I personally trained Shadowburn in the way of
That's
Genji.
not even remotely
The Brenji actually trained him way back in the day. Went way back. He
Before
actually
or
caused
after
me-
you were a maths teacher?
Yeah.
Somewhere after that point. But we won't go into my timeline. But I'm going to be going for Philadelphia Fusion today.
Zoe?
First of all, I just want to point out that Philadelphia Fusion has been so kind as providing all of us with a lot of cool Fusion swag. So I kind of feel like that's where you're coming from here. But I'm not judging you because I'm going the same way for different reasons. So,
You're saying you weren't bought out like
yeah,
Frenchie
I
over
wasn't
here.
bought.
Sweatpants are very nice, to be
They
fair.
are.
They
really
are very comfortable.
Either way, Fusion swag apart. Obviously, two really strong teams. I do feel like it's going to be a close match. I do think it can go either way. Obviously, the DPS players of both of those teams will be playing a key factor. But I somehow think, even though Boston is playing cleaner, I think the scrappy and aggressive Fusion style might actually give them the edge. So I'm kind of pulling for Fusion.
All right. Well, as a New Yorker, I cannot go for either team because
That's okay.
I have to just accept that Philly and Fusion are playing against each other, Philly and Boston. So I'm going to leave it to the analysts, and those predictions are very solid, and I'm excited to see what this matchup brings. Guys, this is my first time here, so let's get a little bit of noise going on because I want to get into this game. Let's send it over to my buddies. We got Semler, and we got Hexagram.
Thank you, Golden Boy. Man, new guy on the host. I love it, though, that we cannot, for one moment, Hex, doubt our analyst desk, the integrity of that desk. It is ironclad, or should I say sweater-clad? I mean...
I got nothing wrong with being bought and sold, but being bought and sold for like a t-shirt? Come on, guys. Hold out for a little bit. You're underselling yourselves.
Seriously, ask for a room in that mansion that those guys live in, by, you know, for example. But, you know, of course, they want Philly to win. It has nothing to do with those soft, silky, smooth sweaters that they all got handed out. Nothing at all. Other teams take note. So, moving into Eichenwald, Hex, this is it. It is going to be a massive series here because playoffs on the line for both of these teams. We have to say, though, that Boston, they are looking a bit ahead.
Exactly. Those graphics are nice, and it's great that Bren was absolutely not a math teacher, but really all that matters is you got to take care of your own business first. You got to win games. That's it. You can't worry about everybody else. If you don't win games, you are not going to be in the Stage 1 playoffs. So Eichenwald, I don't know. I mean, I love Philly, right? Fly, Eagles, fly. And
You got it in?
yeah, I got it in. But I think Boston has the definite advantage in this matchup. You look at the win rates on the maps. Boston has not lost on Eichenwald. A lot of that is because Dream Casper owns the skies. Asfara is averaging over 12,000 per 10 minutes on this map, one of only 4 people in all of Overwatch League to do so. So that's the problem you have to deal with. And then moving forward, Boston just has better stats on the map pool for today.
I'm loving it because this, yeah, exactly. They are looking better, Boston, but, you know, you're speaking about Dreamcasper, about Shadowburn owning the skies. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Brenra owns that desk. He is in fine form today. The Brenji, he is here. I'm loving it, man. Strong start to the day, and I only wait to see more as well. Strikers decided to off himself. For some reason. We all get to see that. It is in the, you know, it's not actually in the game yet, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, there's a stat I was talking about, Casper the Friendly Pharaoh. I couldn't remember the specifics of it, but our stat team does fill us in right there. So he's been so good on it. One of the things about Dream Casper, though, is he's not necessarily crushing it with directs. He stays alive a lot, he hits a lot of splash damage, is able to get a lot of damage in because of that. But Shadowburn, a good dogfighter in his own right. So he's going to be up there, and it's really going to matter who can put enough pressure on the other team, hitting directs. And this is going to be an interesting rollout as Boombox on the Widow for now. This can put so much pressure onto Dream Casper.
This is what you're going to need to do. If you are the underdog in the matchup, you got to pull up well, at least at the beginning, right? Hey, if you want to peek over, because we've seen Ferris on the defense, peek over that rooftop, trying to get a few rockets into spawn. If you got a Widow there, it's like slap, and that could be your defense in tatters immediately. I like the thought coming in there from Boombox, but it's not going to work. He goes back to the Zenyatta, and we're into the thick of it here as Shadowburn is just raining in rockets.
Oh, God, that Mercy is so low. Mercy one. No one's able to get back and deal with Kellex. They try to. And Dream Casper will put down his opposite number, and they have to reset here.
I love that we get the Shadowburn camera at that particular moment. That man looks so ruthless. He's like, it is only a matter of time. We came close, right? That man, he is dead. He is dead to me, and it will be just a matter of time here as Philly will get the reset. So we'll see how they decide to change things up going into this next push. Pretty sure Shadowburn will find that Mercy kill eventually here.
He will crush you, emotionless. And absolutely dominant in the sky so far. As we move forward, though, Casper's nearing his barrage. Carpe's going to have a pulse bomb up. Those are the things you want to look at in the next fight, see who can get the opening kill. So often can lead to a fight win in Overwatch.
Oh, we got Carpe on the flank here. Looking to see if he can catch somebody out. Her pulse bomb has been used as well, and so he'll be recharging that, but of course Tracer gets it so quick. Definitely expecting that. Carpe, though, has to dodge out, takes a rocket to the face, just barely survives that one. And yet again, Philadelphia Fusion repulsed.
Yeah, absolutely pushed back. I hadn't heard that term to really describe that before. Repulsed.
They're not repulsive.
That's right.
A bunch of handsome fellows on there, Fraggy.
Yes.
But
well, speaking of Pulse, Striker's going to have his for the next fight, and that can end it before it starts if he can get to the back line there. But so far, there's been almost no pressure applied to Dreamcasper there. Kellex has stayed super far back, been able to actually Guardian Angel and get some healing on everyone else. But this is a battle of the towers, as one is going to sit behind a house. The tower up there is for that offensive power to hide behind. They're not really going after each other. It's kind of been a truce in the skies.
Been a bit of that ground game, and that's beautiful from Striker. Forces out the Transcendence early on in this fight. Not going to have it for the sustain later on. Philadelphia Fusion, they have to get some kills right now, but Striker wins the duel versus Carpe. Neptuno is there with the res, obviously, and so the fight will continue. But Billy, they've used quite a bit here to get the ball rolling for themselves.
Carpe back alive. Dreamcasper going to get out of there. They tried to use that as an anti-air. They end up getting two, but Kellex will bring them both back to life. Resurrection meta still in full effect on our patch till the end of stage 1. Now both teams fighting as 6. Casper not in as comfortable position as he was, though, but it seems like retreat is on for the moment. Neptuno takes down a support, and that's something Neptuno just does. He likes his blaster.
I'm pretty sure you guys heard that in the background as well. Shadowburn using the barrage. What I'm surprised to see is him not getting anything for it, or at least no kills in the kill feed there for Shadowburn. And now things are going to get dicey here for Philadelphia Fusion. This is where the pressure starts to pick up a little bit because they've only got a minute left on this clock, and they've only got a single tick on the first point.
Well, they used absolutely everything there. A Hail Mary attempt at a push, but only 40 seconds remain on the clock. Last push incoming. Casper and Striker still holding on to their DPS ults, and now you can just chuck them out like that, and he will get fraggy. He goes down first. Resurrection can be difficult. They might want to camp this body.
Keep an eye on it at least. Striker, he's got eyes. He's got eyes on it.
Yeah, he's out. They're just going to reset it because you try to get your Mercy in there from Neptuno, and if your Mercy dies, that push is absolutely over. You can wait for Fraggy to get back and still have a push. That's the benefit of dying so early like that.
And a Winston with the jump pack as well can get back into the fight fairly quickly. But there's only 15 seconds left. This is going to be the final push coming in from Philadelphia Fusion. Can they make the magic happen? Dreamcasper trying to find positioning for this barrage. He was tempted for a moment there, but Neptuno wins the duel versus Kellex, and the Mercy is out of this fight. There's a golden opportunity here for Philadelphia Fusion. It's all on Boston now to get the kills and try and win through this Pharah. Where's the barrage? When is he gonna actually commit with it?
It might be too late. I think he's waiting for Kellex to come back because a barrage is a death sentence, and he wants to stay alive and get resurrected onto this point as well. Still holding it. There is the counter Valkyrie from Kellex, who rejoins the fray.
Super late in the game as well, and now we can keep an eye on Dreamcasper. This could be what ends it all here for Philadelphia Fusion, and not even gonna need it. All of the focus on that ult, and yet his teammates are doing all the work in the meantime. They hold a hard hold here on the first point of Eichenwald for Boston. A fantastic start.
A ridiculous hold. I think some people have softened a little on Mercy because she's not in the live patch, right? So I want to give the Mercies all the credit in the world here. Neptuno getting his pistol out to deal with Kellex in the sky.
That
big. Damage got him up to the Valkyrie so that he could pop it first, use the Valkyrie in that fight. The stall out from Boston to wait until Kellex got back, and Kellex was not really dying that fight except to Neptuno, oddly enough. Mercy's played very well there, so, you know, the ire has gone out of my life for Mercy. I'm accepting it now. Now I'm enjoying seeing good Mercy play.
Well, Hex, we all know now at this point it's because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. When you are deep in the darkness and you see nothing, you wonder, you're grasping around looking for a shred of hope. You know, you just got that little crack there. Letting in the light.
The light at the end of the tunnel is a beautiful harmony orb. And now Zen is right back where he needs to be.
It's illuminating the biotic orb that's drifting past as well, and the grenade going flying through.
And you can just see Moira there as well, painting her fingernails, getting ready for the next season. But here we go. That's an astounding hold. Boston, I have them as favorites in this map because they have such a high win rate here, but to hold like that is so difficult to now match as the other side of Philadelphia Fusion. Philadelphia has to full hold here. Otherwise, They're going to lose this very first map. 49% on the board.
So this will be exactly that. A one-map lead, perhaps, for Boston. Philadelphia could be looking to draw things out, however, and take the fight to the assault map that will be coming up next. I believe that's going to be Lunar Colony as well. And so, hey, you're going to get to see your Bay, maybe. Moira could be in the fight there. We'll see who's going to decide to get into that. So now, push begins for Boston Uprising. No time wasted here. Already, Gamsu just leaping into the fray. Bit of the third person there so we can get eyes on that sexy skin.
Just gonna kind of let them in. Never mind. Boombox does what Boombox does. He ends fights before they start. The volley of orbs right around the corner finds himself a Tracer, and that is a full reset. However, they're able to get a trade here late for Carpe. Offensive reinforcements are going to come a little bit sooner, so trades are going to benefit the offense.
This is also where did Carpe die? Is Neptune, is it even possible to get the res in here, or are they just going to push behind it? It looks like Boston, they realize that they have an edge. They managed to get the D-Mech very early on Poco as well, and the kills are coming through now for Boston Uprising. This is where they start to spin out of control. They've made so much progress on this point. The contest comes in at the last possible second, but they will get the first tick, and they nearly got the first map. Boston Uprising running over the defense. Philadelphia Fusion wondering what happened.
Making it look good so far, exacting revenge for their fallen compatriots. Take a 1-0 lead early on in this set.
Glad to see that we have so much of a duel going on. We are going to have, obviously, the replays of the different fights that were happening. Noteworthy play from him for sure, keeping on point there. Exactly, Shadowburn just getting wiped out. But I did enjoy watching the Pharah duel as well on Eichenwald, right? The decision-making from the Pharahs, do they go for the Pharah fight, that fight in the sky, or do they focus on the ground war?
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Listen, this Boston team are the real deal. All this stuff pre-season about them coming last, we all did it. I didn't. I put it in my power rankings. We were wrong. People need to wake up now and realize that these guys are out here and they're hungry.
Everyone thinks of us as the underdog. People think of us as nobodies. It's like, oh, these guys came from nowhere. They came from like low-tier teams. So just to show how we can prove ourselves and we can mesh as a team and show that we're the best.
And oh, Casper! It's just adding insult to injury now.
We're looking really confident right now. We feel very confident right now, and I think if we just continue to improve off that and feed off of that, we could do really well.
It's going to be the Boston Uprising. They hold up in the heat.
Get a 4-0 here against the Los Angeles Valiant.
Well, halftime, we like all got together and like hugged, like did the talking thing and shush. After we won, we did a countdown to get up and do it. So half of us did it, half of us didn't. So it just looked kind of weird.
I did it.
I did it. Gamsu did it. The rest, I don't know. They disappeared.
Disappointed.
I'm glad we got a little view of Papa Huck there at the end. You know, reaction, that is classic. And of course, I mean, if you are the coach and you say, I have a vision for this team, I'm going to take these players who may lack some experience, but we're going to form them into this killer unit. And he's certainly done fantastic work as a coach.
But Mitch is right. Everyone had him about 12th in their power rankings. I did not. I had him like 11th.
You had him 11th. Yeah.
But look, there's a lot of potential in this team, and I think it's really embodied in Dreamcast, someone who worked his way up the ladder, got a chance on some of those teams that didn't get a whole lot of play times. It was weird because when he did get to play, he showed those moments of his potential that you've got now, and now he's one of the biggest stars in the Overwatch League. So underrated, no longer. I think going into next year, their power ranking position will be, or next stage rather, will be very different.
Significantly higher considering the performance they just put on versus Philadelphia Fusion. If you're just joining us, Boston are in the lead up 1-0. They dominated on Eichenwald to start things off, and so we have Lunar Colony coming up next, an assault map and a fun map, a variety of strategies that we get to see on this map, including your girl Moira. Except that this isn't DM Hex, so that's right. These players have a soul. You, however...
Look, you like when I play Moira as well. We've been doing a little Moira Diva, and they work so well together. I'll just chase you down and heal you up, and no one will ever kill you.
Yeah. It's great in a match.
I was really surprised with this Boston team. They did what the Patriots could not and played a semblance of defense there on the first map.
Do you want to make it home alive today, Hex?
I'm not going to stop by the makeup room again. Some people are against me there. I think this is a great map for a defensive team as well, so I want to see what they want to run here. They have a good win rate on this map as well. It's not until we get to the fourth map of the day that Philadelphia has a better win rate on these maps than Boston, so overall, coming into it, he's got to look at the history, and Boston still trying to keep their hopes alive. Also, Boston, a much easier path to the Stage 1 playoffs. It's not the paragraph of conditions that Philadelphia needs to get in.
Exactly right. Boston, it's very clear-cut. They win both of these matches, and they win them in dominant fashion, and that's it. They are going to be competing in those playoffs. And so right now, they've really set themselves strong here. They've got that 1-0 lead. If they can win this 3-1 or 4-0, Boston are going to be looking fantastic. So let's see, take a look. More dive, more eliminations. It just so happens that Boston, they're really good at dive, Hex.
They are, and they're also very good at adjusting when they have to. Mostly on Oasis, they ran that really cool Slambulance early on, and we'll see what happens when we go over to Control, even though it won't be Oasis today. But both teams running a mirror match right now. You have to wonder if the defense for Boston gets aggressive on a counter dive or they try to catch the dive. That's always the big first question here.
That is a bit of a choice here from Boston. We have seen them be very aggressive with the counter dives as well. Like, oh, you want to dive? Well, we're just going to go and dive you and kill your entire team in the process. So we've seen it be very effective for them in the past. And you can see, I mean, they are just waiting here for Philadelphia to commit. Poco gets frustrated, decides to go in for the fight, take a little bit of a peek, but guess what happens? Dreamcast reigns supreme so far. Shadowburn is out of it. Instantly rezzed by Neptuno, of course, with that resurrect, thanks to the Mercy, but...
Carpe trying to create some space, going for the back cap there momentarily. It does pull them a little bit out of space. He is able to get Casper in the back lines. However, Casper takes down Poco in turn. Both teams now evened up. And Casper still has his blade, so they're going to wait on that one, likely to come back up.
I'm liking the positioning here as well, kind of keeping that presence at the back of the point with the tanks. And so Carpe, sure, you can come in here and tap the point. You can try and bring Boston back towards it, but with these tanks that he's having to deal with, there isn't a whole lot that Carpe can do apart from be an annoyance. He is creating some space here for his team to try and get in here and actually initiate on this fight, but we have the wings out for Kelix already. However, Carpe gets the stick on Nako. Kelix, though, with the instant res, but It's all good here for Boston so far. The kills are just coming in so quick for them.
Well, Philadelphia holds off on their reses until now, starts bringing a few back to life there from Neptuno. Dream Casper back in the mix. So, despite all that, we're now 6v6. Striker does strike first blood yet again. Boombox and Shadowburn now out of this, as the defense will continue to hold strong.
Super solid, and also some great patience coming in from Boston. You know, reading the fight. They still have 2 ultimates left over for the next engagement as well. Both of their tanks now. One of them can go boom, and the other one can just start swatting people around like kitten toys.
I like the disengagement from them, though, because you saw how Carpe treated the Winston himself, and you're going to mess around all day with the Winston as Tracer, and you're just going to farm alt. And then the moment the D.Va shows up, it's like, ah, nope, I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with both of you at the same time. So they have their rotation back, and then they're all in very good position on the defense.
Oh, Fraggy decides to pop the Primal Rage to start the fight off. He is looking to get in there, and he gets the key kill! Calyx is out of it immediately, right from the beginning. This could be the difference maker now for Philadelphia Fusion as Carpe, he whips his pulp bomb. Still, we have kills coming through, even without Calyx in the fight. It doesn't matter. Boston, they're still finding all the frags.
Well, this could be a Tracer's playground, though, because no more healing is left for the Boston Uprising. They could be able to get in there and finish off some targets. However, Note very high up. Note's going to go back, give Calyx a Guardian Angel target. There it is. So
the taxi service.
Yep, and now he will fly back in.
Calyx better leave him the tip.
Because of those late kills, they were able to bring back exactly what they needed, and still not even a tick on the point. We're at a minute now, somewhere.
The defense has been fantastic for Boston Uprising so far. Philadelphia Fusion, they keep throwing themselves bodily into the fight. They are brave. It's just not quite paid off yet. However, we do have a couple of key... Yeah, exactly. The big kills come through. Note out of the fight very early on. That's a beefy target. Dreamcasper will be brought back to life by Calyx, but it's looking like finally Philadelphia Fusion are going to start making some progress on this point.
Well, odd that they don't want to come back in because Calyx now has his Valkyrie up and Neptuno's has already been used. They will force the issue, come back in. Now Dreamcasper's got his blade out, but it is going to be transcended through. Nako back in this mix. Wonder if they keep going all in here. Transcend comes in. They are all in on this defense.
They're willing to tell you that. I mean, all of these seconds that are getting burned off the clock is going to leave Philadelphia Fusion very little room to maneuver with going into the next fight on the B point, as the point will take over Philadelphia Fusion. They've got that going for them, but they only have 4 minutes now to crack this indomitable defense on the B point.
But it flips the percentages of the support ultimate so much. Neptuno 65, Boombox 50%. Everyone on Boston Uprising support squad is below 20%. They will have a huge support advantage window. They're gonna have to wait for Fraggy though. I love some of the ragdolls in this game.
Absolutely, man. Especially, yeah, when you get those mines involved, bodies just flying through the air. And they managed to hold out, and so quite a bit of percentage gain there for Calyx and Nako both. Neptuno is sitting on Valk, however, so we'll see if he decides to start the fight off with it going into the next one, really try to push the advantage here.
They should know they have advantage based on how that last fight went, that Boston burned everything to try to hold it on. Philadelphia was able to maintain their push even without support ultimates, so they know they have an advantage. It's just a matter of pressing it, because if you give them too long, they're going to have their own support ultimates in better position. So they're going to res right up. That's a res without Valkyrie. It's too late.
This is unbelievable. Look at that. Striker just refuses to give up. He creates this huge distraction, allowing Gamsu and Note to team up, and they just dive right into the back line of Philadelphia Fusion and wipe it off the face of the planet. Carpe died very early on in that fight as well, so Philly just lacking the firepower there to turn it.
Support advantage completely nullified now. Nako and Calyx will be matching their counterparts on the other side. Philadelphia is running the 76 because they want to be able to take high ground. If you can get Carpe set up on Soldier 76 in the high ground, he will be able to feast on everything below. But Note's been so good at shutting people down that that might be a bit of a pipe dream.
I'm kind of surprised that you used the Resurrect in that situation. Now you're only going to have the one reset hard res coming through unless you've managed to burn 30 seconds off the clock here if you're Philadelphia Fusion for Neptuno. Striker with the money! Comes up with the pulse bomb, and Boombox is out of the fight.
Might force out a res. They're just gonna hold it now. They want one good push. They're being very patient here. No, they will try to res this. They brought Boombox back to life.
Ah, man, Dreamcasper, I love that too. Just camping that body. Was hoping for the concuss mine there to do the damage, but Neptuno manages to dodge it. Now the Riptire gonna be into it, buying even more time here for the Boston Uprising, delaying this push further as Philly are trying to guess, where is it coming from? He doesn't get a kill, but he buys like 10, 15 seconds there with the time.
Maybe, but you also would like to have that tire to deal with a Valkyrie Mercy who's going to be in the mix, and one of the most reliable ways to do that is to use that vertical tire and get up there, pop her with that burst damage. Still, both these teams have been holding on to both support ultimates for quite a long time. Boston makes all the sense in the world. There's no need to use these instead of reactively.
Well, the heals are coming through. Kellex keeping on top of it. Gamsu just trying to be a bit of a nuisance here. Carpe and Poco, however, finding some big kills. And again, Kellex gets picked off. That forces the trance out of Neko, but a split second too late. The damage is done. This might be the moment here for Philadelphia Fusion. With a minute left on the clock, they could turn it. Dream Casper go into the main to try and buy even more time here for Boston to try and delay it further.
It's a great stall out. You put yourself in a corner, then you sit on it. However, this is a great closeout ultimate here. It's going to demech the Diva and should get Baby Diva right away. They're going for it. Kellex comes back, but a little bit too late there. I bet he wish he popped his Valkyrie in the last fight, not this one.
Yeah, definitely, especially when you got that attack visor up and running, and this will be it. Philadelphia collect both points on Lunar Colony with 47 seconds left in the bank. So it took them quite a bit of time, but that's all that matters in the end. You really just need those two.
Another very solid defense for Boston. Kellex had this moment where two people died on his team, and I thought the Valk was coming out instantly because you don't want to get snowballed on last on assault maps. Anything you can do to bring people back to life is always going to be very good for you. But then he died, and it was essentially over from there because Neptuno was going to hold his. Just that split-second decision. That's the kill that we were looking for right there. I mean, in all fairness, you don't expect to get absolutely clipped like that across the map from a Soldier 76, but at this level, you kind of have to bank on players hitting their shots.
Especially when you got the likes of Carpe on the other side. The man is a beast. You give him the opening and he will definitely take advantage. Neko a split second too late there to keep his teammate alive, and that might have turned the entire fight. Instead, it will be Boston Uprising now flipping the sides. They're going to be on the offense. And the countdown has begun. A minute left on this clock, and we'll see what they have in store for us here. If they're going to decide to change anything up, or if it's going to be continuing here with this dive v dive sort of meta.
Carpe has put together amazing highlights on Widowmaker, so that wouldn't be stunning to see him come out on that. I think they know they have to play a better defense than they obviously did on Eichenwald, and you can do this with a Widow. But if you're going to run a Widow, why not run an Orisa as well, sit behind a shield, and then the onus becomes on the offense to put you off. We'll see what Boston has up their sleeves for an offense. We've seen a lot of really cool strategies on offense as well. You can run a Sombra. A lot of times a Sombra will be the one doing the back capping to pull off this very static defense strategy. Or you can just run a Tracer, but the problem with that is Tracer against Junkrat 1v1s have been problematic for a lot of the Tracers.
In this patch, keep in mind, Junkrat has not been nerfed. His mines, they still do so much damage.
Yeah, and you don't really have to aim them. You just chuck them wherever, and they blow up entire city blocks, essentially. You see that trap on the right-hand side. That's where they're expecting the Boston Uprising to go. Get there with the Venom Mine.
Yeah, the Venom Mine, there's the ticking, and especially being able to track him. That's what's more important. Hoping to catch Striker a glimpse here. Carpe, not going to find his angle, has to kind of reset. And now they know, at least they have the information, right? And knowing is half the battle, Hex.
What was that from? Is that G.I. Joe?
That's definitely G.I. Joe.
Nice.
Push comes in, though. Carpe giving ground. I do like the Philadelphia Fusion are moving together as a unit here, trying to stick together and so that they can quickly blow up any target that presents itself. Still having to worry about Striker in the back line, though, and I really like this from Striker. He's giving his team a real opportunity to start pushing onto this site. The Designs, Boston Uprising, they got tired of waiting. It's time to pounce, and Note has already started off strong. Boombox is boom dead.
That distraction play really opening things up. They continue this push in. This one might be going in the way of Boston rather easily here. Look, an alive Tracer is always a threat, has to pull them back, and it just, I call it opening the door. You see it a lot in Volskaya or really any assault map, that if you're a Tracer and you're alive, and you're doing any sort of pressure, especially on first point areas, the front door starts swinging open. And that's when it allows the rest of your team to come in, and then you can coordinate the strike.
I mean, it's tough to say when everything goes down, you know, exactly what the positioning is right now for Boombox, but he is definitely having a bit of a sad time of it. Shadowburn on the brink of death, he manages to barely stay alive. Tyre will get spotted here by Striker. We'll see if he can get the kill, and yes, he does save it. Shadowburn gonna be frustrated by that. Pulse Bomb is here, and Dream Casper whips out the blade, beheads Boombox, but gets blown to bits by Shadow.
Valk out for both teams as they try to bring people back to life. Neptuno does so with Poco. We are back to 5v5 on the point now. Striker's still been a terror. Tries to take out his counterpart. Carpe in a lot of trouble. Will be hunted down from behind. Now Boombox in that same trouble.
I love it. Striker doesn't even hang around. He's going to go ahead and help out on the point. Decides to get the other support. Neptuno is gone. Poco doing the dance, trying to stay alive, and it is not looking good now for Philadelphia Fusion. This is a situation where Boston can continue to stagger these kills one after another and eventually cap this point with a massive amount of time left on the clock. 5 minutes and 46 seconds left in the bank compared to the minute for Philadelphia Fusion.
In this matchup, Boston looks like an extremely complete team. Defense on point, offense on points, and speaking of points, they love to 4-0 this set. I mean, it's not only about winning for Boston, it's about winning in a dominant fashion to try to get into these Stage 1 playoffs. Philadelphia needs to find something in the tank to pull this back.
You can see Fraggy doing a bit of the talking here, trying to rally the troops, trying to get the team together. Well, Shadowburn just looking supremely unconcerned. He's completely unaffected by anything that is happening in this server. He'll get his kills. Now it's up to the rest of the team to start waking up here. And Boombox, you could see, just for a glimpse there, a moment, you could see that he wasn't looking too happy. I mean, he's had a real rough start on the first 2 maps of this battle.
And the manner in which Philadelphia plays means that Boombox has to protect himself a lot of the times. When your tanks are diving in, you're going to be all alone, sometimes back there with Neptuno, but sometimes the Mercy will even leave you to go on the dive. And when you're running pure dive, Zen's world is difficult because you're really just like, here's an orb, I'll see you guys later. You know, it's like the Home Alone, right? He's Kevin, he's left behind. He's gonna sit there and try to defend himself against these sticky bandits looking for his life.
Okay, in that case, Hex, if we're gonna go down this route, you know, where he just needs to accept, he needs to channel, you know, Zenyatta, he just needs to be the Buddhist monk. Life is suffering. Yes. Once he understands that, it's all good. Maybe he'll unlock his potential.
Life is suffering for Zen in these dive conversations, unless you can just defend yourself and kill people. Dive comes up onto the right-hand side. A lot of people getting very low. Fraggy will be the first to fall. Seems like a theme for the Philadelphia Fusion. Brought back to life, but now they are behind a little bit in the resurrection.
Just channel your inner Jonak. Channel your inner Jonak. Yes, I make my opponent suffer. That's what you need to do, Boombox, and already it's looking a bit better this time around. The attack coming in for Philadelphia Fusion. They don't have a whole lot of time to work with, though. 20 seconds left on the clock. Will these kills make the difference? Kelix is out of the fight. No res possible now for Boston Uprising, but they still need to get on the point.
Great pack control. They need to get on the point and stall out, but without their D.Va in mech, that's going to be that much more difficult. Striker falling means that Philadelphia should be able to get some progress here on the points. If they're coming back in here, I don't advise them to do so. Too far away, too short-handed, especially without one of your tanks. Can't contest this. Philadelphia making a nice run of things so far out for 1 minute.
Super solid. For the DPS stepping up big there for Philly, finding the kills.
They've also gonna have Valkyrie for this fight, and they're gonna get themselves to a lot of ults if they can use that Valkyrie to keep people up and alive, and then they will have everything going for them. This is their only push on the last.
Well, self-destruct is committed in. Poco manages to survive, just a nick. He will still be in this fight. We've got eyes on Shadowbird now, and of course, this is going to be the most patient Genji with the blade. When does he decide to start hacking people to bits? He's looking for those squishy targets, I'm sure, as Gamsu gets cleaned up as well. Philadelphia Fusion turning it around, perhaps a collapse of Boston, and there it is. Spots his target, looking to hack him, but he's not going to close the distance. Kelix too far away.
Very difficult there. Patience, I've been told, is a virtue, but not in every sort of case right now. Shadowburn will get taken out by Dreamcatcher's blade. Dash through on Neptuno. Boston in a great position to shut down this push at 66%. It will do just that.
Managing to hold out. It was looking a bit desperate there for a second for Boston, but they managed to be patient. And I think Kelix really staying alive there. It makes all the difference. You can see him getting reses off on Gamsu. High HP target that's going to continue to stall that point.
Right. But Shadowburn holds his blade longer than nearly everyone else in every situation. And I don't think that's the situation to hold it. He's sitting out on the edge of the point. He needs to be holding the door with that blade. That way Mercy doesn't even get out. The moment you see her, you slash her out spawn. I don't understand necessarily what he was holding it for, what he's waiting for. There's not going to be another fight. That's it. It's your last push.
What I can imagine is just he's trying to get in with his teammates who are calling, like paying attention to the comms. If they're calling Gamsu, Gamsu, monkey, 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 he's turning around looking for that monkey, and that's the second that Kelix needs to get out that door.
That's fine, but one of your DPS has to be at that door, or I don't know. It just seems like a waste when you have such a small entry there. It's much like Anubis, right? Where there's only 2 really decent places to come back in. Put a tank in one and a DPS on the other, and you can completely shut them out. Or you can let your team know, hey, they're coming out now, come help me. Someone can stay on the point to deal up with like the big targets that are trying to stall, then someone can not let anyone else come out. I don't know. So I'm not a good Genji. I'd have to ask Bren about this. Maybe Bren can give me some insight on why the blade wasn't used there towards the end.
Well, we will certainly hear from the Brenji on the Bresk later on. Halftime will be coming up in just a few moments here, as there is still quite a bit of time here for Boston to work with. They can be patient about this, Hex. They can start looking to do their Python, their Boa Constrictor impression. Take this time and slowly squeeze the life out of the fusion, because you got 5 minutes and a half here to get that first point cap. Dreamcasper, however, he's dreaming. He's out.
Yeah, and now they have to resurrect in a very uncomfortable spot. However, Kelix able to do it with the help of his Winston. That was great to put the bubble in the dome around them so that they could get that resurrection. Speaking of the Winston play, Gamsu then just goes, kills Neptuno. Dreamcasper will get all the credit, but this is Gamsu's push.
Oh man, yeah. Gamsu, Dreamcasper, Striker even winning the duel versus Carpe in the end.
Dreamcasper doesn't even get a chance to come back to life if Gamsu isn't there with the bubble to zone them out and then bring out that resurrection. And then he's like, oh yeah, that other guy, he's got resurrection available. I'm just gonna go kill him. No problem. 5 minutes to get over 66% on the final point here.
Wow. And you're gonna have the ultimates coming in here. Striker nearly got his pulse bomb. Carpe's matching him though, so they do have that edge. Kind of nullified, but Boston now just kind of poking around. Striker looking for his opening. He realizes he'll have pulse very soon. If he can stick it on Fraggy or one of these tanks to get the DMEC early on, that could be big. Or he's just gonna look for the back line. He's just checking to see the positioning here. Where are they right now, Philadelphia?
So look at that push of the back line, that aggression gets them a free third. They both went back to spawn because they didn't want to die. So now even if they get nothing more, they can come back and regroup, but they were so close to taking it. A double tank kill from Striker. Make it 3 by Neptuno.
Striker, what a beast! Boombox! Hacks Boombox, wow, that's it, it's done. Boston Uprising. Surgical precision here, everything falling into place perfectly for a dominant 2-0 lead in this match versus Philadelphia Fusion. They're doing exactly what they set out to do here, Hex. They needed to win clean, not drop a map. So far, it's shaping up very nicely for Boston.
Boston's coordination has simply been superior. All the pieces working together, fitting like a puzzle. They are indeed very coachable.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
And Boston were looking for that salty run back, and they are getting it as they're up 2-0 against the Philadelphia Fusion. Welcome back to the Despos. Folks, I'm Golden Boy. Look at that. It's very cold in here, by the way. But you want to know what else is cold? Boston.
Yeah.
Ice cold. Ice cold. You had no idea.
I had no idea where that was going.
Yeah, no, I didn't know either until I actually did it. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this Eichenwald game here, man, because it was brutal. It was brutal, boys.
This one was an absolute slobber knocker, as they say in the industry.
There you go.
I mean,
there you go.
It was,
that's my phrase.
Again, I had faith in Philadelphia Fusion. I thought this is going to be a pretty good match for them if they play to their strengths, but we didn't really see much of that at all. And we saw a very passive sort of intro. They were trying to poke and prod at the initial point, but there was a lot of sort of disjoint between how Carpe and Poker were playing and how Gamsu and Striker were playing, more notably.
Yeah, and really, when we set this map up, we were talking about the Pharah fight in the sky, but because these guys are both so good, not only is their aim so good, but their movement and their awareness is so good, so they actually just kind of cancelled each other out. They weren't really having too much of an effect either way, but boy oh boy was Boston winning the fight on the ground by a country mile. They were slaying Philadelphia as they tried to have slow approaches, just the tanks and Striker was syncing up so beautifully well.
Yeah, it was very impressive. And, you know, I want to learn a little bit more about that play, that final play on point A that Boston had. So I think it's time for some, Brent, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Insights powered by Intel. Where's Sideshow?
I'll educate you, don't worry, Golden Boy. Not on singing, but instead here in the game.
I'm a beautiful singer.
We've got it paused here, and what I want to highlight in particular is the Boston Uprising's dive here. So Boombox is their target because, as you can see, Boombox has his Transcendence up, and they want to get this out early in the fight. So Striker's been hanging around here. He's going to double blink. I think he takes a slightly more circuitous route from this, but ideally he's going to jump in there at the same time as Gamsu gets on. A Note is also going to come in. I'll make this arrow a little shorter just to indicate that he's going to be, he's going to just be trying to protect.
All arrows are pointing to death.
It really is. And so when you see this happen, it's going to be Dreamcasper dropping back to protect Neko, and the whole of the rest of their team aggressively. Here comes the dive. Look at that timing. It's synced up so beautifully. Gamsu dies because Note can't quite protect him. But here's from Striker's point of view. So I just want to pause this again and watch the timing here and look at these little looks as he takes glances at the right-hand side of his screen to make sure that Gamsu's ready. He's hidden. There's no way they know he's coming from there. Two little glances towards the right-hand side. Sound cues, rather. They got onto Boombox. There's the Transcendence, and he blinks so that he can get a larger recall so that he's out the danger, and then instantly destroys Carpe in a 1v1 as well. That's the insights by Intel, but just to show you how insane Striker is, being able to set up on these dives, because if you're coming out of nowhere as a Tracer, the enemy team has no counterplay to that. They just can't expect it. It's so beautiful watching Boston set up these
I would have
plays.
preferred if you sung.
If I sang it. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm tone deaf, so that's not.
That is not true. You have the voice of an angel.
That's true.
Okay.
I heard you last night. You were singing Wonderwall or playing the guitar.
Oh yeah, that was your
harp and
Valentine's
step.
Day, right? You guys are Valentines. So
Yeah, he's wonderful. Honestly, someone set this guy up. He's a great man.
This is terrible. Okay, so let's move on to Horizon here, and it seemed like you know, they just kept on bringing the pain because Boston, they were just giving it to Philadelphia here, and despite the best efforts of Philly, it was just all Boston.
Right, and this was a reoccurring theme, right? I mean, Philadelphia Fusion, they tried to once again play sort of slow poking style coming into it. The similar sort of strategy they went with an Eichenwald. It worked out a lot better. They did manage to get that first cap. They managed to get the second one as well. But in general, Boston's ult economy was so much more clean, and their dives were a lot more crisp. They really just had a lot more cohesion compared to Philadelphia's sort of style that they were going for. Maybe as a signal that they are a little bit untested playing this sort of passive style of dive.
Yes, and I think in general, Philadelphia Fusion have tried to slow down and catch the dive, as Hex was saying. The idea there is that when Boston commit to it, you're going to kill the players that go in aggressively. But instead, they are just getting abused because they're giving too much room to Boston, not playing aggressively enough themselves, and so Boston can set up these coordinated plays. I feel like you have to put more pressure on Boston, otherwise they're going to be able to set up these orchestrated plays, and you just have no chance once they've set up.
Yeah, but you mentioned pressure, though, and Bren, one thing in particular was Gamsu, man. This guy was all over the Genjis and just did not hold up at all.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, this comes in part of Dive, but we've got a lovely little clip that shows you just how effective Boston are. So this is when Shadowburn was using his blade. Now, they had no support ults on the side of Boston to sort of counteract Shadowburn's blade, but Gamsu, and this is Boston in general, they save these ultimates, like the Primal Rage, like the D.Va Self-Destruct, stuff that's going to disrupt, basically, Shadowburn from getting any value out of his blades, because they know he likes to hold on to them, which we mentioned in the pre-show. We know he likes to be a bit patient with them, and they knew that it was coming, basically. They have these timings in their minds. They know exactly when these ultimates are going to be coming online, and that just shows that Boston are sort of in another tier when it comes to reading the ultimate game.
Yeah, but then you also had some weird moments too, where like, you know, they would read the ultimates very well, and then out of nowhere, like, they'll just get completely swarmed out because they'll just perform some bad ults at that moment, right? Like you'll see like a tire just fly out.
Yes, and I think once the pressure was on their tanks, they find it difficult to set up synergy between support ultimates and tank pressure because they're so far away from each other. And so I think that's just an innate weakness, perhaps, that other teams might be able to abuse. If you put loads of pressure on Gamsu and Note and try and play Junkrat or Soldier and put loads of damage on them, they won't be able to get that same ultimate value out.
But to your point, Bren, it's very clear that when Boston are reading those ultimates and when they're executing like some of the best in the league, and it's very impressive stuff there. But another player, too, has been very impressive. We highlighted him at the beginning of the show, was Striker, as a matter of fact, and he has had quite the performance here in this matchup. So
he really has. And on the second map, his KD, his final blows, compared to his amount of deaths, was 17-2. The guy only died twice and he got 17 individual picks. So he's the one that's going in at the same time as the tanks. And this is where communication comes in so much, because Gamsu and Note are telling them when they're about to engage, and Striker comes in from a flank and gets these picks. And the guy's got talent everywhere. He's hitting pulse bombs. He's nailing the timing. He's got crazy aim, and he's not dying as well. He's being able to survive in these situations. People were saying, the other players, that he might be the best tracer in the league. I didn't believe it. I'm starting to now.
Okay, we get it. You like it.
Yeah, well, I mean, none of us believed it really, because we were like, this guy has just come out of nowhere. There's no possible way he can really start to perform on this level. But no, this guy, and I mentioned it in the pre-show as well, is the most consistent DPS player alongside Dreamcasper. These two players that we've seen in the league so far, they seem to never fall off in these games they're playing. They seem to never really drop off at all. And even if one player is playing average, the other one is just going to step up massively. And Striker in that game was an absolute pain train, just ramming through Philadelphia the entire match.
I guess that's just a credit to the recruitment team over at the Boston Uprising, and of course, the president of gaming, Mr. Huck, Mr. President. In any case, though, if he's somewhere here, he's probably mad at me now. In any case, though, what a first couple of games here, man. I mean, Boston, they're up 2-0, and they're showing no signs of slowing down. Can Philadelphia bring it back? Maybe force that game 5. Who knows? But we're going to find out after the break. Ilios is up next, and we'll see you on the other side.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
The Boston Uprising must have got the memo that every map counts because they're currently up 2-0. Will the Philadelphia Fusion let this match slip through their fingers like a wide open Tom Brady? Let's find out and get back into this one with Similar and Hex.
I love it, Malik. Thank you, because we are just going to keep, piling on, because why not? As far as I'm concerned, Hex, Boston have clearly brought the wing clippers today. They're looking pretty good.
A quarterback doesn't drop passes. Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Look, hope's not dead so far.
That got a few claps.
Yeah,
that got a few claps out there.
I've been waiting a long time for this. A long time. It's not quite over yet. Philly still has hope. They have to win Ilios, they have to win Junkertown, and then we go to a 5 here. But it's not looked very good for them so far.
No, Boston definitely showed up to play today. They have looked dominant. They've looked clean, more importantly. Their pushes are on point. It seems like the comms are flowing. And when it's on defense, they just look like they're putting up this massive wall, and that Philly are just banging their heads against it.
You know what should scare teams about Boston is even as we go forward and maybe the meta adjusts in stage 2, I think teams are going to revert back to what is just the dive. And Boston's dive looks so absolutely clean and on point compared to the other teams. I think if you're building a team like they did with Boston, you start with guys, let's just go dive. It's been so good for so long. It will always have a place in the meta, regardless of how things change around.
Sure.
I don't think we're ever going to go back to just quad tank versus quad tank. Dive will always have a place, and that should scare everyone about Boston.
There are flavors of dive too, aren't there, Hex? Where it's just like, oh, we can run dive, but then it's how we play the dive. So you're always going to be guessing as well how we're going to get in there.
Yeah, dive typically, though, is very much in Boston's wheelhouse. Tracer Genji, Winston, Diva, and then, whatever else. I guess, supports are supports, but you can pretty much run anything else there. But a nice Zen and a Lucio would be the most traditional of traditional dive-style compositions. Of course, I don't know if we will see it on this map. This is the outlier of Ilios. This is Ruins. You see a lot of Widowmaker on this map, and getting first control of the point with Widow can lead you to a 99-0.
That's exactly, we're not going to be too surprised to see the Widows in play already. Carpet looking for the long shot there. Not going to find it, but that's fine. Won't come as a surprise that he's running Widow. He's definitely one to be feared. And so looking for the clever angles already. Now it's a question of where is Dreamcasper? Can he spot out Dreamcasper, win that duel to start, and give his team the strong side that they're hoping for here on this map 3?
And playing a mirror match, I think he's waiting for his team to call out where the other Widowmaker is so he can find an angle, look for a grapple shot. Round 4 will begin with no Widows drawing blood just yet.
Poco trying to dive around, but he gets DMX very quickly, kind of stuck out in the open there. Striker winning that fight. Gonna force him to go to work with the Bunny Blaster here. Might be in the fight for a while, but really Boston is like, yeah, sure, tickle us, it's fine. We're gonna go ahead and, just tear the rest of your team apart.
Took out both tanks there in that engagement as well, so now they're in a good spot. That's a nice kill, though, from Carpet to take down Dreamcasper. It means that perhaps he can stay on this Widow even though they don't have control of the point, which is usually not the case.
Yeah, this is gonna be big. Striker having to back off. You can see Poco, Fraggy in this case, but they're just not wasting any time at all trying to hop on this opportunity here. Philadelphia Fusion Striker with the cam. Nope, now taking that duel, just goes charging right through him.
No, taking down Gamsu back to life though, so they are not tankless at the very least on the point. Striker continues to try to do his best to carry on this point. Might be too much now with both tanks out of the mix. Even though they're gonna keep fighting in here, they get some respawns back in, but it might be a little too late. It was probably time to pull back, but they want every percentage point they can get, and at nearly 50 here. Now Carpe's in the position he wants to be. Control of the map, control of the Widow sightlines.
Yeah, we can take this if you are Philly, but Boston, right? All right, you're almost up to 50%. The big thing here is that Carpe has won that duel twice in a row now versus Dreamcasper, and so Dreamcasper's got his infrared up.
Yeah, if he's gonna win it, it's going to be this next one where he's able to see where Carpe is, and Carpe does not know exactly where Dreamcasper is coming from, but that's why he's playing so far back. He wants his tanks to scout out where that Widow is so he doesn't just get pop-shopped.
Well, Shadowburn gets picked off by Dreamcasper, and so that space might be costing him. Fraggy trying to get in here to punish, and he's gonna go ahead and Primal Rage right into the corner. Dreamcasper, will he survive? No, Fraggy gonna beat him to a bloody pulp. That's the kill. Fraggy now has given Carpe all the space he needs to get in here and get back to work.
However, despite that kill, that was a big body off of the points, and they ended up flipping it back over. He went all in to try to take down Dreamcasper, did just that, but there's no one to help on the point, and they just get a very simple flip back. However, a lot of that was because Kellex did burn his Valkyrie there, so Philadelphia in the right mood to disengage. They should have the advantage in next fight with both of their support ultimates available, and both these Widows are nearing being able to see through walls, which makes a very interesting battle.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Who comes out ahead there? Fraggy again. This time he takes out Striker. Big kill to start things off here as Philadelphia Fusion looking to flip this point back their way. Shadowburn trying to keep the pressure up. That is a ballsy play, Kellex. Right in the middle of nowhere. And of course, Shadowburn's going to take full advantage. Will get shut down by Nako. The damage is done here.
Absolutely punished. Shadowburn, not necessarily known as a Tracer, gets completely shut down by Nako, who's known as a murderous Zenyatta. Not over quite yet. They have to stay on here, and I think a self-destruct will be coming out momentarily if they so need it. No, tank reinforcements come in, and they're able to save some of these ultimates.
I do like you're prioritizing the self-destruct though, Hex. I mean, we are talking about an artist, Poco.
Yes.
Made his reputation off of just getting money self-destructs all game long.
I hear it on the ladder now, too, and people are playing D.Va, like, going for the Poco.
There you go.
There it is, over top.
The man is known, he is feared. A lot of fun with the self-destruct. It's a fun ultimate to get into place. It feels good when you get a couple of kills with it. So we'll say Poco being very patient with it. He can also hold on to it to get that new mech if things swing against Philadelphia, but they're about to take past the 60% mark. There is no backing up for Philly, however. Boston Uprising are at 99%, so if they flip this point, it's gonna be looking grim for the Fusion. But so far, the Fusion hold Carpe, kill after kill.
Carpe is gonna have to carry this team, and he is one of the few people in the Overwatch League who can hard carry a team. He's gonna have infrared sight up again. Casper's has expired and uses his, so he should have the small edge going forward in the battle. Speaking of edges, another small edge for Neptuno, who I think gets his Valkyrie so much higher because he's not afraid to just burn out the damage, get his blaster out, and start charging that ultimate up.
Now you can see, Carpe now knows where they're playing from. There is going to be very little room here for Dreamcast to maneuver, but Gamsu already starting off strong, taking Poco out of the fight very early on. But look at this, Carpe reigns supreme right now, trying to force him off, however, as I say that, and it is going to be no jumping, but no, Gamsu taking a lot of damage.
Well, they do send some people back to help Carpe. They know where their bread is buttered, and that is going to be Neptuno with the blaster trying to take down. Eventually will. 99-99, next decisive fight should win this one, but it's still super back and forth.
Oh, no, gonna get the D-Mech, but he's fine with that. He's gonna get the self-destruct of his own. Clear this point. Philly not able to get back in time to contest, and again, Boston Uprising keeping their cool. Managed to keep it together and pick up that map lead.
As good as Dreamcasper is, at a certain point, you have to just recognize the Widow's not winning the Widow battle. Maybe find yourself a different option, send a Genji in there. The reason I'm kind of waffling on that is because sometimes the other Widow is enough pressure to make Carpe at least be honest, so Carpe can't just go off as he wants. Casper maybe hits a body shot, but definitely just not getting the better side of the Widow v Widow there. That was all Carpe.
That was all Carpe. So, we will be moving into the next point. Lighthouse here. Very curious to see how things are going to adjust for Philadelphia Fusion. Shadowburn will be going on the McCree. No shock there. Dreamcasper on one as well.
Duel of the Cowboys here, see where they want to get in position. I wonder if these are blind reads, thinking the other team wants to run a Far Mercy. Casper opens up, though. He doesn't need a sight. He's got a hand canyon. Boombox is already down. Forces out that early resurrection. Boston's not done, though, getting aggro here.
Yeah, because that puts Neptuno out of position with that res, and they're just going to pounce. Shadowburn dead now. And this will be the first point picked up fairly cleanly here for Boston Uprising. It's going to be on Philadelphia Fusion to flip it.
Boston one stage away from securing the set victory, which is one of their first conditions to qualify for the playoffs. Of course, after that, they still want to get all the maps they can. Map differential, our first tiebreaker to see which teams are going to make it in stage 1 playoffs.
So a bit of the overview there. Just get an eye on where these players are on this map. No, getting shot in the back, but he's in a giant mechanical tank, basically. Let's just be straight. It's a tank with boosters. Fusion cannons on it, so he's not going to care too much. Dashes out, creating a little bit of room here as Poco decides to go diving in himself at risk of getting D-Mexed, but nope, decides to back off. He'll get the heals just in the nick of time to stay alive.
Gets to his team, gets the heals up that he needs, still very low again. He wants to stay up so that he can use self-destruct if they should need it. Right now, at 40%, the onus is going to be on Philadelphia. If you can just launch in the self-destruct Mac, and they're going to go right after it.
Very nicely done here. Trance even committed, and the wings as well. Everything getting thrown into this deny here from Boston Uprising, and it works marvelously well. They completely wipe out Philadelphia Fusion, but one thing to consider, with both of those support ults used for Boston, both of them are up for Philly. You think that's going to be enough to make the difference?
It should be, on paper, in theory. However, Boston's playing so well that they might kill one of the two before it happens. Boston's best chance right now is to get back and maybe take down Boombox, to force out the wings, and then Boombox to Transcend. The thing you don't want is for Carte Blanche to be given and let them Valk when they want and Transcend when you want. You want to apply pressure to them, make them use support ultimates in not ideal situations.
Oh, buddy, that's a bit dicey there for Calyx. Gonna get tickled a little bit. We've lost Nago, but Dream Casper wins the duel versus Carpe, completely unsuspecting. That might be all the opening he needs here to look for that Deadeye, trying to get him out in the open where there's nowhere to hide. And sure enough, Fraggie's gonna go leaping up. Now they know where he's playing from. They're gonna try and deny it. Carpe is back in the fight, wins the duel versus Striker, and they will get the point flip in the end. Philadelphia Fusion. Boston Uprising deciding to hold on to what they have for the next one.
It was a really smart play from Fraggy there to zone out Dream Casper, because the only thing that loses you that fight is if your Valkyrie gets dead-eyed. And then you have to use Transcendence as well. So they're able to get the value out of the Valkyrie that they absolutely needed and able to hold some of their own ultimates. On the other side of things, Calyx, well, Calyx will go down. That should narrow the gap between the next Valkyrie fight.
Quite a bit. Allows for Neptuno to get back into this. This is almost where Boston, you just don't want to do any damage to Philadelphia. Don't give Neptuno any ult charge. No room to work with here, as Calyx is now back into it, gets the taxi service, and is now going to be boosting up Dream Casper. So we'll see if Dream Casper can come up with something magical. Manages to connect one shot onto Neptuno. Neptuno going to get out of dodge, though.
Well, this is exactly what Note's doing. He's up there just to take damage because they know Calyx is very near it. They only need one more fight, and Calyx will have his wings up first. See if they go for it. They're banking some ultimates. Boston with nearly every box checked right now.
Yeah, Boston working on that six-pack. Note is going to get it in just a moment here. Dream Casper, though, you give this man enough time to work, and he comes up with the magic. Boombox is dead. That forces the Valk out of Neptuno, and Calyx has got the wings going as well at the same time. So now it's a matter of the Transcendences here. When do those get popped? And, well, Boombox decides it's now or never.
Dueling Valkyries here. Neptuno steps a bit out of line. Here eventually will come the Deadeye. Although I thought he had a better angle earlier. Still waiting. Will find one as the shield goes down, as does Carpe.
It is so cool, calm and collected here. Dream Casper just stays in there doing the damage, getting Poco low. Another DMAC comes through. Boombox dancing on the edge. He's only got the half HP and ejects it from the map. Nope, doesn't want to have anything to do with Shadowburn. Get out.
Flying off the edge, desperation time. Philadelphia just got to get someone in here to touch the point. They do just that. They've got bodies alive who are going to keep dancing around. So close. Fraggy's out of this fight. It is only Carpe. No more Carpe.
And no more way to close the distance unless Poco can get in here with the last mad dash. It's not meant to be. And Boston Uprising 3-0 so far in this series in dominant fashion as well. They have looked fantastic all series long.
Taking care of business every way, every day is Boston. They did exactly what they needed to do. Look at all those other conditions, map scores, everything else. If they didn't win, none of it was going to matter. Boston's still in the hunt here.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
Let's make some noise, ladies and gentlemen. Big it up, Blizzard Arena.
Blown out of the sky. Jake, huge tire from him. Now there it is. That's the big play.
Stage 1 playoffs for us. We'd love to win it. We'd love to get first place.
처음부터 시작이 좋아야 끝이 좋기 때문에 생각을 하기 때문에 정말 중요하다고 생각해요.
센 팀이 모여서 하는 거니까 그만큼 기대가 되고 빨리 하고 싶은 그런 마음. 돈이 많이 걸려.
Clean sweep.
London has been out of this world.
저는 개인적으로 좀 휴스턴을 만나기가 싫고요. 좀 너무 저희 입장에서 좀 까다로운 팀인 것 같아요.
저도 약간 휴스턴이 약간 좀 무섭긴 하네요. 저희는 좀 공격적인데 우리가 더 잘해. 우리가 더 잘하긴 하는데 좀 힘들 것 같아요.
Next all for sure.
They're actually the best team. They have the best teamwork. They have the best coordination with their tanks. They have the best backline.
Yeah, the most flexibility too.
Most flexibility. They have the best tracer player in the game.
Sabi will be coming alive, man.
SPV is a god.
In the playoffs, when we play multiple matches in one day, it's very important that everyone stays at the same energy level because you don't want everyone to be too high or too low and like waste all the energy like mid first matches. 1등 해야지. 피곤한데 한 경기만 해야지.
하루에 2경기 하는 거는 겪어본 적은 없지만 그래도 좀 정신력으로 버텨야 될 것 같아요.
It just doesn't seem like Seoul's touchable here.
We're used to like scrimming 6 hours every day, so I mean stamina's not really a problem for us.
We're a team full of grinders. When other teams crumble, we're going to stay strong, we're going to stay together, and we're going to stay tight.
Oh, it's just a dominant victory here from the Houston Outlaws.
방심하지 않고 항상 하던 대로 분석하고 해서 플레이오프 꼭 갈 수 있도록 하겠습니다. 그냥 지금 흐른 대로 그냥 가면 그래도 무난하게 이기지 않을까 생각은 하고 있어요.
이번 스테이지 1등은 저희가 하겠습니다.
I think if you weren't fans of London Spitfire yet, Prophet, come on, man. Those guys are adorable and they're murderers, Hex.
Living up to his name, looking to make some dividends here. At the end of the day, it's about that cash money.
Of course, the man named Prophet is like, it's a lot of skrill.
Yeah.
It's a lot of skrill. And it is. There is money on the line here if you make it to the end of stage 1. At each of these stages, these playoffs, money on the line. And so those players, obviously, I mean, they're competing for their honor and glory, but getting a little bit of a payday doesn't hurt either.
Not at all. Boston locked it up, still have their chances live to enter the payday sweepstakes that is the Stage 1 playoffs. Next map, Junkertown, and I mentioned this map pool favors Boston overall, but this is their worst map in the pool right now at 25% win rate. Philadelphia looking to claw back, gain a little momentum, and of course, you know, map differential will matter all throughout the season, so always good to pick up maps here. Kind of be demoralized, though, because Boston's not only won, they've won in pretty easy fashion thus far.
It's looking very good, but I do like that you're pointing out the win rate here for them because let's remind everybody, you know, to get into the playoffs, we got a little bit of a clip there, you know, Dream Casper, oh, you know, it gets really tiresome, guys. I'm like, dude, you can't be tired yet.
Yeah.
You need 4-0 wins here to get into the playoffs. You need to dominate in your last 2 games. And so they're on their way here. Now it's a matter of sealing the deal, closing it out.
And of course, you saw some of those teams all looking forward to those Stage 1 playoffs. We have London-Houston later today as well, which should be a very decisive matchup early on. I mean, it's going to mean so much for Houston. Houston has that amazing map differential. They just have to win and get in. And then London just wants the 1 seed because they don't want to play all the extra matches.
Exactly. I also like that, man, from Prophet.
Some nice honesty there.
We don't want to play 2 extra matches. You know, that's for the guys who are just below us, beneath us. You know, they can fight it out. Good mentality to have, especially when you're sitting top 3 in the pack, as London is. They are beasts. So now, we will find out what we have in store for us here. What's that? Sweet, sweet music on the wind. I believe it is a hail of bullets from Bastion, Hex.
Possibly we'll be running the Bastion here on the offense. Defensively, though, no Bastion on the field. Still going to do the halt and hook combo from Orisa and Roadhog. Striker will be trying to pop heads there as Widow.
Ah, they have Striker on Widow. Okay, then Dream Casper not wanting to do it. I mean, he's got the Junkrat as well. He can definitely do some damage. And you want that Junk not only for the burst with the mines. Let's remind you that it hasn't been nerfed yet, but also to burn through the shields. Nako, however, on that Roadhog will win the duel somehow versus Carpe. There's a very strong start for the defense.
Yeah, I think he was on the flank there. A lot of times that defensive Roadhog will look through that room to see what he can get. Poco nails a hook, but then eats a bullet to the dome, still down there. And this is not ideal for the Philadelphia offense, getting pushed back. But Boombox trying to turn it around for his team, gets a huge kill. That is so much healing potential out of this fight.
Boombox.
That's 100% of their healing potential.
I mean, that's big. That is a monster kill, and that forces Boston to give ground. He's like, you guys killed me all the time. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and get Kelix, and we're going to win this thing. Boombox making the plays, although Dreamcasper will win the duel versus Shadowburn. Bit of that mine to the face is not going to be pleasant. Nako and Note doing work as well, and things still looking up despite the fact that they lost Kelix there. Boston, they wisely backed off. They didn't let things get out of control, and now you've got your Mercy back on the Boston side.
Fraggy just got hard focused there too. He got hooked, he got popped up, and then everyone put the fire in him. Orissa's got a decent health pool, but absolutely melted. Defense holding strong now, just hitting, just damage boosted. Area denial is what I call it. Spam's a dirty word.
Spam, but it's so tasty.
It is tasty. Of all the canned meats, Spam is definitely in the top 10.
It is numero uno, and well, Dreamcasper, he's got the tire going in, but it gets picked off by Carpe. In the meantime, however, Striker gets a bit more of a valuable target there. Boombox, once again, relegated to spawn. Although, as I say that, Neptuno brings him back out of the nether.
Yeah, Striker just not being contested at all in the back line here. Carpe's got to try to find the angle on him. He's got to figure out where he is first, though. Be interesting if he sees he goes by his team, but that infra sight is out. So Striker going to be able to see everything.
They know, though. He has to be telling his teammates exactly. Striker, he has definitely called it that Carpe is in the back line, and so the instant change of positioning, not going to save his own life, but perhaps he did enough here to delay things and allow for Boston Uprising to continue to contest this point.
Just two different styles right there. I mean, you saw that Carpe was still trying to get something going there, or actually Striker was still trying to get something going. Carpe's like, this sniper rifle turns into a machine gun, right? Yeah, I got this, no problem.
Turns out, you know, he's got the tracking. No, just being annoying over here, contesting that point, buying valuable time here for Boston to move in and look for a fight. No, not long for this world. He's gone, and we lose Gamsu as well, and that pretty much ends it here for the Boston Uprising challenge.
All-you-can-eat buffet on the cart as Boston just feeds really hard on that point on defense. They're an aggressive team, but maybe that's why this is one of their worst maps. Style doesn't play too well. This is all about retreating, knowing when to get back. Look, Junkertown, you're very rarely going to hold on first, even second. It's knowing when to hold them, know when to fold them, and get that ult economy in good shape. Boston should be able to come out now, but you never want to face an offense that's already got high ground on you.
Exactly right. As you're moving through those choke points, those doorways, tight spots. And so now you've got Fraggy in position on the high ground, can get that barrier down. Fortifies real quick just to delay the inevitable, perhaps, as Carpe looking for the shot, the duel! They both hit shots, and Carpe will eventually lead to Shadowburn finding the kill. The trap was laid, and Striker is gone.
Casper does come up there and help out as well. Defense trying to maintain here, but this whole hog is going to shut a lot down. Kelix puts himself in the corner, not an ideal situation where you want to be. On the follow-up, though, as his tanks come back out, a counter whole hog will push them away and give them the room that they need. Kelix has popped his wings, and Neptuno goes down to the tire.
This is big. Neptuno out of it. No res possible for Philadelphia Fusion, and this could allow for Boston Uprising to stabilize on this defense. Sure enough, although Shadowburn continues to get kills. He is waking up here in this series. I mean, it has been a bit of a long, one-sided affair in the first 3 maps, but on the 4th map, he's getting work done.
Boston finally switches off this single healer defense, and they're going to switch Nako back onto his god, Kirtzen, to try to get some more healing and to get some more damage in there, make these tanks fall a lot quicker.
Exactly, the Discords, that's what you want. 30% amp damage, it's a good time if you are playing DPS. Shadowburn, point blank, rip tire right into their face, and he gets the supercharger that leads to Gamsu's death as well, and so things starting to get pretty solid here for Philadelphia Fusion.
Well, it looks like they've got it, and now they've been able to cut off the Mercy from the front lines, too. Not in a great position. Shadowburn will punish that. Both supports down. Carpe cleans up. Pretty good aim for a fish.
And Striker pretty much just chucks himself into that fight, hoping to delay it a second longer. But we move into the 3rd point defense now for Boston Uprising. Fantastic time so far for Philadelphia Fusion. They've got a bit more here. Just under 3 minutes. And Striker, that will prompt the change to the Tracer. There is the flank option to go through under the stairwell here, under this bridge, and so we'll see if he makes use of it.
Boston switch back to their signature style of the dive here. Everyone goes onto the heroes. Means they have to hold on a little bit, though, because they're going to give up a lot of alt charge. But Nako and Note combine to grab a couple right there. They bring it back up, and this is Boston's signature style, and you can see exactly why. So good at the dive.
Yeah, just getting in there, getting those high-value targets, and that allows them for them to just end the fight. So Philadelphia have to go for the reset here. And again, now the tables are a little bit turned here on this third point, where it will be Philadelphia Fusion funneling in through the choke points.
Well, Philadelphia decides to dive time as well. They make wholesale changes to their squad, so we're back at near matches. Neptuno still has his Valkyrie though, and Kellex used his during the last fight. This should be advantage Philadelphia if you only look at the scoreboard.
Oh boy, Fraggy. He is finally gonna go down. Gamsu will tase him. Striker with the DMAC as well as Neptuno brings Fraggy back into the fight, evidently. They will, however, manage to continue getting kills here, Boston Uprising, and Neptuno's got his work cut out for him. He has to get those guys back into the fight. Dream Casper not gonna be able to get his Dragon Blade off, however, and that may turn things.
The issue is where Fraggy died. It took Neptuno so far away from his team that he has to go use the Resurrection. It takes him a long time to get back and do all the healing. However, with Kellex and Nako both going down, Boston now in a tough spot with no heals, but it does not matter. Self-destruct goes down. Still getting a lot of damage, but there is some sneaky push happening on the card as well. Continues to move.
Yeah, keeping a presence alive on it. That's Poco and Carpe working together as a duo. But they are very squishy targets, and they sure, oh, never mind. Poco, he is armored now, and he's getting heals as well. Neptuno makes it back in the nick of time to keep his teammate alive, and both tanks now here for Philadelphia Fusion. Dream Casper, though, styling the shuriken to the face.
That could have been so dangerous for them. They could have just lost two in a terrible stagger, and with only 50 seconds left, that would have spelled disaster for Philadelphia. Philadelphia banking up all the ults in the world right now. They will drop their Transcend. Try to move through it with Shadowburn.
Oh, he's been spotted, however, but hey, it's not really gonna matter, Boombox. You don't have the Transcendence to negate this ult anymore. It's the hack and slash coming in from Dream Casper. A real horror show. And eventually Philadelphia Fusion, they have to give ground.
Have to pull back. Philadelphia, though, will have the huge advantage of Valkyrie versus Transcendence. They use their ults in a different order than Boston. Boston did pop their own Valkyrie there. Striker has been so good at shutting all of this down to start with. See if he can find an angle on Neptuno. Going to be difficult. He might even start lurking high ground. Yeah, he's just waiting. Wants to see the silhouettes. Looking to end this before it even starts. So close!
What? Is he gonna get the kill? Recalls back into it. That self-destruct gonna force him around the corner. May have bought them just enough breathing room here. Yes, to reset. Neptuno back to full HP. And so now Striker, he's just gonna have to be patient. He's gonna have to wait this out. But in the meantime, Philadelphia Fusion continue to make progress at the point. Overtime, Wicks are burning. And Striker's the one who has to come back and actually contest.
He almost had Neptuno there. The pulse bomb should have just come out of that hallway, and you hope for the best. Meanwhile, though, Philadelphia continues to move forward. A couple of kills from Boston. Try to bring this back. And Boston with a huge respawn advantage, going to be enormous here. Boombox needs to stay alive. He's got Transcend, could help them push. Shadowburn and Carpe both nearing DPS ults. They might not even have to use them.
And just like that, when the defense is looking impregnable, the Fusion find a way. Get that third point unlock in overtime. Sure, they don't have a whole lot left to work with here if we do continue in this fight, if they manage to tie it up 3-0, 3-3 rather, Boston.
I'm just still really stunned that pulse bomb didn't come out. When you get the Moth in a hallway like that, she's stuck on the ceiling, there's nowhere to go, and you just, unless you're hitting full clip headshots. Mercy's regen is up, Valkyrie was out there, but the pulse bomb would burn that down. Somehow didn't come out there, but it's fine. Striker has bought himself enough grace that I'm sure he was making the right call.
Listen, he's on the defense. Do you want him to use a hand grenade in his home when he could use the fly swatter? Maybe he should have. Maybe he should have, you know, just sucked it up and paid the reconstruction costs afterwards. But
we know what happens when you use a hand grenade to kill a fly. No more fly, at the very least. You have solved that problem.
Ah, well, you get plenty of time to think it over. You could see perhaps, you know, just a little bit of the greed coming in. Sometimes it's good. But still, they did a remarkable job on the defense, Boston. No time left in that bank for Philadelphia Fusion. And so now it's just a matter of Boston running this payload home. And we'll see which strategy they've elected to go with. It is definitely looking like the breeze is a-blowing. Mako on the Bastion.
The black sails are going up. Looking to plunder here.
Picking up. Are there going to be any chop? Philadelphia Fusion? Gonna be some,
Are these just going to be sailing terms that go over my head?
Why not? Why not? The tide is shifting in Boston. They're going to be working against it because Philadelphia Fusion are going to be on the defense now.
more of a jet ski kind of guy.
Jesus, Hex, no, say it ain't so. Come on, you're not one of those guys. I'm just like...
Well, next time you go sailing, let me know. I'll rent a jet ski on the beach, and we'll hang out. We'll toss a football back and forth. It'll be fun.
You're not even going to tell me. We're going to be out there, and all of a sudden, I'm going to see this jet ski just come barreling at it. Is that Hex? Could it be?
I'll be the only jet ski out there. Well, trying to set up the pirate ship here. As they get out on the offense, they want to get some good pressure there. Now, Nako on the cart. Can get really hard to crack this on the defense. A halt and a hook, maybe a headshot comes in. Other than that, you're waiting for Tyre to build up so you can crack shields and get a Tyre over the top. But once you establish a Bastion on the cart, it takes all the defense in the world to be able to deal with it. And then still, Dreamcasters can be looking for angles as well.
Exactly, you can see him hard at work. Neptuno unleashes the broadside into Boombox's face. There's nothing left, and he's playing it safe, Nako. Manages to back off and stay alive. Very patient stuff, not trying to force it. Striker, though, that is the big money kill right there. Neptuno is gone, and it's time to plunder.
Neptuno out of this fight, there's absolutely no chance for them to continue onward. And whenever you kill a Mercy, one of the small factors is your Mercy's still charging up. Even if it's just using the passive ability of the countdown that charges up to your ultimate. So they're going to have a small advantage. See if Philadelphia wants to come out here. They have Tyre ready. Nope, they're going to choose to hold the high ground on second, get their defense set up.
As they wait for the breakwater to lower, Boston, very patient at the wharf. And so they do manage to get a very good time going on here. You know, sun's a-shining, a little bit of a breeze, and plenty of time to enjoy it here. If you are Boston Uprising, Nako just raining the bullets in. Here's the Tyre coming for him, though. Is he going to be able to survive it?
See, it's looking for it, but he's in a tough spot right now. They're not able to get him. He's just going to take down Dreamcasper instead, but that is insta-res. Interesting to see if tank mode comes out here, because there's not a whole lot of great angles for him to take. So he tries to go into turret mode, but he does not notice the tanks above him. Nako, a little bit of a positioning error there, cost them the Bastion. He's got tank mode, so maybe he comes out on it. Still, he will.
Yeah, stick to your guns. The Striker gets a good fishing play there, manages to find Shadowbird. Definitely not going to throw that one back. He's got the whole hog as well here, Striker, so he's just waiting for the opportune moment to go in there, guns a-blazing.
They really want to demech the D.Va here and at least get him out in the open so that they can get tank mode in, but Dreamcaster Calyx down. Might as well call an end to that fight right now. No one else needs to die here. It's just going to stagger them more. But Notes trying to get back into his mech will not. Here comes a ambitious ultimate from Striker, and he pays for it.
Yes. And so this is where you wonder.
They're making changes.
Exactly. It's the moment. That's what you got to cut those masts free. You know, when they're hanging over the side of the ship, it's a stormy sea, you're about to broach, you got to get rid of the mast, you got to change it up. And Boston Uprising, enough is enough. They got the axes out, and they have decided to change up the strategy here, going back to what's worked for them in the past. Go to the try and true.
Looks like they do just that. This dive is punished immediately as Poco is right on the spot, dealing all that burst damage from the D.Va. They are going to get in and resurrect this, but they will fall shortly after. Tuno with a later Valkyrie should be able to give Philadelphia's defense a solid chance here.
There's opportunity aplenty here as Poco, we're getting the first bird's eye view on him. We'll eventually find the kill. And the self-destruct, is it gonna be good? There we go, Nako's gone, he gets one. Poco, he's just like, this is normal. I always at least get one kill.
Well, a lot of self-destructs and things like that come down to timings of the other team's basic abilities. If the Winston's out of the fight, there's no bubble, there's nowhere to hide into that self-destruct. So a lot of this is the D.Va out of the fight, is the Winston out of the fight, which is why the game is so much centered around tanks right now, because they're enablers. They enable other abilities and they shut down other abilities. Once tanks die in a fight, it's essentially over because it's just free reign for the opposing team's DPS.
And it is essential now. Boston Uprising, they've taken a little bit of a breather. Taking the time to prick the chart and figure out where they're going next. What is the new course? And so they're together as a group. Shadowburn looking for an opening. Very close to his Dragon Blade as well. And so once he has eyes on that back line, and especially once the trance gets used, it could get a bit dicey. Carpe lending a hand as well. Calyx gone.
Still, with both of the healers out of this fight, Boston's gonna have a hard time pushing through here. Gonna try to buy enough time with their tanks. They do just that. They equalized it. So now if they can stay around or on the cart, they should be in good condition as their healers will get back shortly. Cleanup is absolutely there. Philadelphia has a long walk back to be able to contest this. They've so far shown that they would prefer not to contest in these situations. They're playing a little further forward. They will not be able to get to that point on time. 3 minutes left for the Boston Uprising offense.
Well, we saw. I mean, now it's a question of whether Boston can do what Philly did. Philly, no time left, as you guys can see. They did have 3 minutes when they pushed this final point, however. And so now Boston, they need to show they have as much firepower as the Fusion.
Fusion, better ultimate advantage overall. They've got both support ults about to be up. Dream Casper is going to be thwarted if he goes in here with the Blade, but one of the big things you want with a Blade is just forcing out those ultimates, and here comes a Blade from Shadowbird.
Whoa, just doesn't want to have anything to do with that. Goes climbing up the wall. Fraggy, however, will splatter Nako across those very walls. Indeed, Shadowbird getting caught in the corner by Striker, no less. Fraggy as well. Striker just going ham.
Still support ults yet to be used. Neptuno's not even going to have the chance now. He is out of this. I think that Boston can continue to push without hitting Q anymore. They've used enough. They have a dominant position in this push here. Now 2-11 and still all the advantages in the world for Boston.
Listen, Striker, when he's after that booty, he does not miss. He is all over it, like a madman.
How many pairs of boat shoes do you own?
Not one, I go barefoot. I truly, you know, I get an eye patch out. You know, you gotta live it, Hex, if you're really gonna relax. So, I mean, well, let's just keep an eye. Dream Casper.
Neptuno down again. Neptuno goes down again. That is brutal for them. Calyx could pop his Valkyrie in what they think might be a final push. But again, I don't think they will need it. Calyx will pop Valk now to try to finish out this fight, but they have to get the kills here.
Keep in mind that Dream Casper has still got his Cutlass ready to go. And he's been so patient with it as well. He's just telling Shadowbird, hey, you like to hold on to yours? Watch me. I'm gonna wait for the opportune moment to come whipping out and start beheading people as Boston Uprising. They are still in this fight. Calyx, with the wings ablazing, is able to bring his teammates back into it as well. And this might be the turning point. The trance is used, and that's all Dream Casper was waiting for. It's time to hash him to bits.
He's got it out. Shadowbird did take down 2, and it's the most important 2. It was all the healing for the Boston Uprising on this push. Philadelphia still in a decent position to hold as the last tank will fall. 60 seconds remain for Boston to try to 4-0 this set, which is so important for them and their chances in the Stage 1 playoffs.
Everything on the line. We'll get a replay because we have a chance to breathe here as Shadowbird, all eyes on Dream Casper. And he gets right in on the money targets. No way for Nako to survive that without the Transcendence. And there we go. That's some of the classic Shadowbird Dragonblade that we've been waiting for. The man is very patient. At that time, it paid off big.
Arpe had been switched to McCree for a bit. Trying to hold on to this defense. A zoning ultimate, a zoning Deadeye could be the order of the day. He also may be holding it for thinking that Calyx might get back in here with another Valkyrie. That fight went on long enough that there was enough healing output. But he's gonna pop it right now! Nako puts him down!
From downtown as well! That was so far away with the volley, but it was perfectly timed. That might be all the opening here for Boston Uprising. Can they turn it? Will this be enough for them to pull forward and tie it up 3-3? Trance has been used by Boombox, and now that's going to open it up here for Striker to get in with the pulse if he wants, and Nako's got one of his own as well, and Dream Casper whips out the blade and goes to work.
Neptuno fell early in that fight, so that was so much healing down, and now the DPS ults come in and clean up. Boston will finish out here on Junkertown. We're going into a second round here. 1 minute on the clock for each team to see how far they can push this payload.
That is not a whole lot of time to work with here, if you're getting into it, if things are going to get spicy.
But given the offenses in Boston's strategy versus Philadelphia's strategy, you'd have to favor Boston because their first push was much better. They got the Bastion in position, whereas Philadelphia took a little bit, lost some people early on, had to reset a few times. So given what we've seen thus far in the map, the 1 minute kind of sudden death situation favors the Boston Uprising.
And we still have about 40 seconds for both of these teams to check the powder room. Get those powder monkeys a pounding through the decks. You know, make sure you got the guns ready to go.
I'm learning so much. So much.
I'm pretty sure that, like, well, powder monkey isn't really a term that you hear too often, but those were the kids. And it was brutal to be a powder monkey back then as well. Because you were, you know, everything's flying all over the place. You're this tiny kid, you got cannons going off in your face all over the place, and you're the one who has to run from the powder room, not the place you want to be, all the way into the action and back again the entire fight long. Not pleasant to be a powder monkey back in the day.
Yeah, I'm glad I live in a time where powder room generally just refers to the bathroom. So it's much safer time. All right, Pirates aside, I thought I was up on my Pirate stuff too. I've been trying to learn for, Pirate stuff coming up.
Master and Commander, everybody. Fantastic movie, but the series, the books, even better. Go and read them. All right, we're into the thick of it now. 45 seconds on the clock here for Philadelphia Fusion to make some magic happen. For them to go off in Boston's face. Can they make it? Well, the dream, I mean, here it is all about just ruining Boston's.
It's very much looking like Philadelphia's first push, just kind of slow going here, setting around corners. They are going to get some progress now with less than 30 seconds left. If Boston can win a decisive fight, that cart will stop right where it is.
Boston were very good in that first round defense of hanging back, but not this time. Nako yanked into the open and they get pounced on. But Dreamcasper's there. A kill on Neptuno could mean the difference. Allows Dreamcasper to have some room to work with here, and they have managed to stall out the cart yet again, shot after shot. And finally, Gamsu, oh no, Fraggy gonna be able to get the barrier down.
Maybe that's enough, but I don't think so. That is a lot of Boston blue in the kill feed right there. Neptuno comes back in, but he gives up his life rather quickly. Neptuno's had himself a rough map here on Junkertown thus far, maybe feeling a lot of pressure to try to carry this team, and no one's going to be able to touch it. That's it. That's where it'll stop.
Not looking too pleased right now on the Philly side of things. I mean, it's exactly, you get the camera and it goes through, right? Carpe, just wondering where it all went wrong.
Look,
and,
it's momentum-wise, it's been tough for Philly. They lose the first game pretty poorly. I mean, on Eichenwald, then Horizon doesn't go much better. And they know that their kind of dreams to get in the Stage 1 playoffs are a little bit dashed here. It was a long shot to begin with, and now you can kind of see them overplaying. And I think that's why Neptuno has died as much as he has in this map. There's a lot of pressure. He's trying too hard to make plays rather than falling into place with his team. The teamwork in general for Philadelphia has not been on the same level for Boston today. A lot of individual plays have hurt them, some mistakes have cost them.
So what you're saying is that they've been in America too long. Everybody's trying to be the star. Everybody's trying to be the star of the show. Hold my beer, I'm gonna carry. Let me get on Soldier, let me get on Widow. Or Hanzo, I don't know.
I'm not gonna besmirch my own country. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
See, this is the thing, Hex, you'll learn. Half French, half American means I can go either way. You never know which way I'm gonna come at you from. And there's even a Frenchman on the Philadelphia Fusion.
I'm aware. I'm aware. Well, meanwhile, that box on the ground is all Boston has to get to. I don't like that Philadelphia is playing this far back. If you know they're going to run Pirate Ship, you can try to thwart it by just holding out up front. But they're just going to let them set up for absolute free and hope that they can get to it. But their strategy to thwart this is always going to be relying on tires, halts, and hooks. Striker is out going to be fishing himself in the back line.
Yeah, good barrier positioning. As I say it, though, the barrier gets taken down, and immediately Poco out of the fight so fast. Striker and Nako teaming up to shred him, and they don't have a whole lot of ground to cover here, Boston Uprising. They are in a great position now to just pummel their way through.
Nako back to life again, and there's only two in the back line here. Junkrat is only just trying to spam onto the point, but Striker all by himself. He doesn't even need to get these kills. He's just zoning people out. Can he hit the hook? Does not matter. Boston with the 4-0 they needed. The Uprising keep hope alive.
So important for the Boston Uprising. They've got a real shot at the playoffs now if their next series goes as well, or if they even get 3-1 in the next series. It's a lock. They're looking great. And so what a performance from them. Everything seemed to come together, and it's kind of left Philadelphia Fusion back to the drawing board, back to the charts, trying to figure out where are we in this foggy expanse of ocean.
Well, Philadelphia, as we go forward, have a lot to look forward to. Of course, their university team looked very well, or looked very good. So they're building on something great in Philadelphia. Not all the pieces quite there yet. Meanwhile, Boston, perennial underdog since the league started. I don't know, what's the opposite, an overdog?
Yeah, exactly. An overdog going overdrive. Just mauling people. Well, not mauling. Do dogs maul? No, they bite.
Sure.
They're not bears. But guys, we're taking a quick break and we'll come back and hear what the analysts and the Frenchie, most importantly, have to say about this next match.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back. This is Zoe. I'm now joined by Dream Casper from the Boston Uprising. Please give it up again for their team as they just secured another victory. Another very dominant performance by you and your team. And I have to say, ever since that loss against the San Francisco Shock in week 2, you guys were on a run. You looked stronger and stronger and stronger with every match you guys played. What was the key to those improvements?
I think after that loss, we all got pretty sad and knew like, oh, like teams can beat us, right? So like after that, it was like another motivation. It's like, oh, okay, we got to work harder than another team. So we just kept working harder and stuck to our guts.
So you got your Super Bowl revenge here. Does that mean anything for your team?
I think it feels good. At least we got a win out of this week. And Shake, I'm pretty sure our coach is really happy with the work we've been doing.
All right, yeah, feels good, man. Feels good, man. Now, let's look ahead. Houston Outlaws is going to be your next opponent. You need to win. Yeah, you can give it up for them. Don't worry about it. I appreciate it. So yeah, Houston Outlaws, next opponent. You need to win 3-1 to secure your playoff spot. Can your team deal with that pressure, with this additional pressure?
I mean, personally, I play good with pressure, but I think it does put a lot of pressure on us because Houston Outlaws is a really good team. Legendary Jake, I'm scared of it, and I'm going to try to prepare for it my hardest.
All right, well, we can't wait to see what you guys have in store for us. Thanks very much for joining me. We're now heading over to the desk with Golden Boy and the guys to break down the action.
All right, well, thank you so much. Always good to hear from Swag Daddy Dream Casper, who is feeling himself oh so well on that one. And for due reason, because they, gave the stomp into Philadelphia, made Mr. Kraft very happy today.
He's still scared of the J-Rat, though. And
he is still scared.
That's coming up. That's the next thing on the horizon.
I heard Jake was raised by rats.
Did you?
That's why he's so good at Junkrat. That's the rumor on the street.
I mean, I don't think that's true.
No, it is. I said it.
Little by little, I'm losing confidence in you. Little by Anywho, okay, well, let's just go ahead and jump right into it and talk about Ilios here because this was, again, just more solid performances from the Boston Uprising, continue to show us why they're a strong team. But one thing in particular, Carpe on Philly was going off, but Boston tried to shut that down quickly.
Yeah, so Carpe was basically the game plan for Philadelphia Fusion. They were putting all these resources into Carpe throughout this map to try and make him pop off. He was their win condition. They thought, if we just make sure Carpe never dies and gets all the damage done, this is our best shot at winning. However, didn't quite work out for them. Boston knew that when they were focusing so much on Carpe, they just had to apply a little bit of pressure, and suddenly Striker could just roam free across the map and just absolutely cause devastation on the entirety of Fusion.
Yes, and in theory, this should be a good map for Philadelphia Fusion. Boston are forced to go over to less divey picks. They have to play the Widowmaker on Ruins, otherwise you're just going to get torn to pieces. McCree incredibly popular on the other two maps, along with the Pharah, which is in Dreamcast's wheelhouse, but you're moving away from the Genji, so theoretically there was an in there, but Boston just ground them out. It was a great play of the flexibility of Boston Uprising as well. They can play more than just this dive, and that teamwork and the bare fundamentals still carried them through.
I'm actually really glad that Zoe asked that question about the loss against San Francisco Shock, because that helps you to kind of refocus yourself and then realize, okay, these are the things we want to work on. And then in that moment right there, you look for that moment to dive in, right, if you're Philly, and make that opening happen, make it work. But because of just the composure of Boston, it's very clear that this team is very practiced.
Yeah,
I'm loving it.
Losses do motivate you to get better, right? So next week,
not me,
Bren should be way better at predictions, because he absolutely dropped the ball on this one, along with Zoe.
We're going to skirt past this one, okay? Wow. I had a few under-the-table packages sent to me in the forms of sweatpants and T-shirts from the
So are you saying that you can be easily purchased?
Yeah.
Your analysis is easily purchased with sweatpants.
Precisely. London Spitfire, you're next. I'm expecting it to be shipped. I live at so-and-so. I'm not going to say my address live on stream. I was about to.
He thought about it for a brief moment.
I thought about it for a very brief moment. I was like, that's an awful idea. Let's not do that.
It really was an awful idea, but it will actually be pretty dope sweatpants because Spitfire has some pretty dope colors. I'm just saying. I happen to be a fan of that little baby blue. You know what I mean? In any case, though, let's go ahead and move on to Junkertown here, because now this was we started to see Boston struggle in this, and it was because Junkertown is such a weird map with that wide open space, just a lot to play around with, and Philly were having a field day there for a little while.
Yeah, because the way that Boston plays with their dive is that you have to set it up beforehand, and you have Striker hidden, you have Gamsu in a place where you can't put early damage on him. That's impossible on Junkertown until really when you get to the final stage where you do see a lot more dive. But these first two stages so open, so you have to play this slower pace composition. I feel like that started flowing much better for the Philadelphia Fusion, apart from their A attacks and defenses.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when you do go to overtime, it's basically about who can execute the A attack and defend better. But overall, this was a much more vulnerable showing, I would say, by Boston Uprising. That shows if you take them to maps they're uncomfortable on, there is a very good chance of being able to beat them.
But the upside to that is the fact that Boston seem to be only uncomfortable on Junkertown, right?
Yeah.
Because of the way it's designed. There's no other map in the game that's like Junkertown, that's so open, that doesn't suit sort of Boston's playstyle. Every other map has these little tight corridors that you can set up dives, which is where Boston really starts to excel.
Yeah, but it's just that the odd layout of Junkertown, but it you know, adds some refreshing gameplay, right? And that's what we always want to see.
The pirate ship.
The pirate ship. And Semler apparently is a pirate. You know, I was looking on Reddit and people said that they think Semler is an actual pirate, and now I'm a little concerned because I sit next to the guy in the office, and I'm wondering if he's going to just look at me and go, "Yar."
You never realized when he has that pet parrot he always carries around with him? Do you think that was just...
that makes a lot of sense.
And the gold, the bags of gold.
Man, I tell you, everyone's just, ha-ha. Okay, so we gotta move along here. We gotta move along to our player of the match, sponsored by Omen, by HP, and it is going to be Striker. He is the player to look out for, and he was swagging out pretty hard that game.
Yeah, big fan of Striker. I mean, again, we mention this guy every time Boston play for very, very good reasons, because he just seems to outperform absolutely everyone in the server. He shows up multiple times per game. Never really a dull moment in the life of Striker, is he?
Yes, and I think some credit has to be given, or a lot of credit, in fact, has to be given to Gamsu and Node, because those guys are fantastic at being able to coordinate with him. But I think it's slightly more difficult for Striker coming out on the flanks all the time to be able to still sync up with his tank's aggression. And he gets so much work done. The timing is fantastic. He has this raw skill to be able to back it up. And he doesn't die very much as well. Only 13 deaths playing this very risky flank kind of style is phenomenal coming out of Striker.
Not just that, though, I want to point out as well, look at the eliminations per life. He's getting 6.5 eliminations with every time he's alive, essentially. And when he's playing that risky play style, that's more impressive to me. He should be dying a lot. He should be being taken care of.
And I think something that I want to highlight as well, a statistic that we had cooking in the back over the course of this game, is talking about the differences between players' kills and eliminations. Because what the dive style does is it has everybody focus fire on somebody, and they share out the elimination between them no matter who gets the final blow. And Boston have the largest ratio of eliminations to final blows out of any team in the league. That means that for every kill, there's always multiple people taking part in it, and they're able to share that out, and that means their focus fire is excellent, their timing's really good, and they don't leave anybody just trying to win solo battles.
It's very clear that, you know, Boston coming into the season, a lot of people wrote them off, and myself included, being from New York. But it's clear. This team, they're the real deal. And in fact, let's actually go ahead and take a look at the standings here and show you how real they really is, because they're going to be in third place, knocking out the Los Angeles Valiant. So LA Valiant will not have that third place position anymore. Boston Uprising will gain control, but the question is, will they be able to win against the Houston Outlaws? That is their next game. I mean, at this point now, man, the playoff race is getting a little nutty here, and it's been really fun. So do you think Boston can get that win against Houston?
Houston's got a really good game style, actually, for being able to deal with Boston. If you want to shut down a dive, you need a Junkrat who's going crazy, and then you need somebody else to try and counteract Striker or Dreamcasper or whoever else is popping off for them. So I think Houston, out of all the teams in the league, have the best chance at stopping this rampage of Boston going any further. I think that's going to be a really tight game, because Boston at the moment are on fire.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with that one. In general, I got to say Houston might be the favorites in terms of just because they have Jake on the Junkrat as well. That's a big factor in terms of playing against this sort of coordinated dive, because you do get a lot of sort of peel capabilities. Throwing out the mines, you're knocking players all over the place. You know, me personally, I don't like to play the Junkrat because I like to play heroes that take them sort of just an inch of skill. But
oh, please. You don't play the Junk. You don't play the
Genji, like the Tracer. You know, just very high mechanical skill across the board.
You don't play the Junkrat because kind of a trash can.
Yeah,
Rat,
don't
and
say
that's
that.
what it is. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on from that. I mean, it seems like Boston may need to call the Brenji eventually.
Possibly.
You know, to get in there and slice and dice
Like
his
I
way
said,
through.
multiple owl offers, but I turned them all down.
Oh, dear Lord. Okay, guys, well, that is going to do it for us here. But our next matchup is going to be a good one. It'll be the Florida Mayhem facing off against the NYXL. That's going to be coming up next, so you don't want to miss it, and we'll catch you in just a few.